So today I have Doula Shahzadee with me for our interview series on doulas and what do they do and how they can help. So I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm excited to hear your story. Each doula I've spoken to has had such a beautiful story leading them to this career.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and I'd love to hear you. Jump right in. Let's go.
Okay. And so thank you, Ashleigh. Hi, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'm Shahzadee Dean. I'm 34 years old. I'm mum of 3 beautiful children. I'm married as well. And the fun fact is that I'm a baker as well. My journey was not like something that was planned at all. I went about my life, I worked in corporate for 10 years. And then on the side, I did baking, and I still do baking, which is one of my passions. But I always felt like that's not something that was for me. Like corporate life, like it just didn't feel fulfilling at all. So I stuck it out, definitely, but I knew that there was a purpose, and I was on a mission to find it. My birth stories, I think for me, is maybe what led, me to this place, slowly but surely. Because with my first daughter, I had an emergency C-section. So I wasn't mentally stable because I didn't have the knowledge going into that. I thought it's a natural birth, I wasn't prepared for the cesarean section, and it happened. And I had all the bad things after that, because I was not mentally prepared. So second time around, I did all the research, got all the information, and I fought for VBAC. Every gynae that told me no, I literally walked up in that, and I didn't go back. Found a beautiful midwife here in Marseille, and the doula as well, Karina. She's passed away, but she was amazing as well. And with all that knowledge and that guidance, that information, just 2 women who were like, we're going to let you try. This is possible. You got this. You can do it. That, I think, gave me hope. It gave my partner comfort. And with that, I think it lit a fire inside of me. So once I attempted it and it was a successful VBAC, I felt empowered, felt so strong. It still hadn't clicked yet that, this is something that I wanted to do, but it changed me as a person. Second time, I tried for VBAC again. For the second time, it was successful. This was with my last born. And again, it never clicked. But I had so much information that my friends and my family who were pregnant or who had babies or who had some issues with breastfeeding would come to me, and it would be a natural thing, like to give them info. And I'd be so passionate about it because if someone's pregnant, like I'm there. If someone has a baby, I am there. If I'm ready to help. And then I think once my cousin fell pregnant, and then it was like the closest it could be to home. It's all the way in Lichtenburg side, so we did it telephonically. But literally for 2 days, like me and her had been snapped. We've been on the phone, like, trying to get her to get this baby out, helping her with positions, and things weren't working. But I was on the phone, I supported her. Her husband wasn't with her, so it was only me and her. Once my baby cousin was born, I literally burst into tears, I think out of like emotion. And that for me was like, this is what I want to do. So it hit then. I was very emotional about it, but I could feel it in my soul, like in my heart, like it felt like that this is what like I wanted and needed to do. So it was a long journey, but it happened.
What an incredible journey. And I mean, how much knowledge you must bring to it before you even started, because you had all the different kinds of births. You were already speaking to moms and supporting moms in your personal life. So, wow. And then what did you do? Did you study further? Did you dive into it?
yeah, so once that happened, so her baby's almost 2 years. I'll be doing this now for almost 2 years. So once baby was born, I was like, okay, I have the support of my husband, spoke to a doula friend that's near and dear to me that's been in this game for maybe 15 years and she's amazing. Um, I spoke to her and like found out like how do you become one, the pros and the cons, like would I be able to like manage with kids. She gave me like wombs details, she gave me mama papa details, and she said, you see what suits you and what works best for you. But I think you'll be really good at this, but give it a try. You'll never know until you try. So yeah, I studied with wombs. It was a really intense course. I was terrified every second of the course because I was doubting myself a lot. But yeah, I did extremely well. I passed, so no good actually. But yeah, I always say it's not about the marks, it's about how you turn out to be as a doula, with all the experience that you get. We used to do practicals. We had to do a certain number of hours. So we used to go into government hospital and volunteer and do our hours there. So that I think teaches you a lot more than books can teach you. And it also really builds your character as a doula because there's no private lines there. Every situation is different. And some situations are scary, and tests, and you have to think off the bat. And that I think was really a wonderful experience. And it brings out like the actual real doula in you that thinks on the feet, and how they react to people, because that's also very important. So I think at that point you can see, no, it's for me or it's not for me. Yeah.
And it's amazing that you practice, because that way you get exposed to everything and you kind of are used to being in the situation. And I think in government hospitals, you have so many less resources. So you really got to call on your knowledge and your inner everything to really help those women. So, the women's one is
Yeah,
crazy.
100%.
Alyssa was telling me about it. The training is intensive.
It's intense. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
No,
I think
100%. You
that's
want
because
to be in
birth is intense.
Yeah.
So
It's not a sitting at your desk job.
no,
No.
it's not. No, it's on your feet. It's when you're tired. It's definitely, it's definitely not for everyone. And I'm amazed at any woman that chooses to do it. It's,
Thank you.
I guess, it's an incredible thing.
Thank you.
And so you work mostly with private clients at the moment, or do you work at a center?
So at the moment, I just work with private clients. It's very difficult for the new doulas to be working in birth centers. As much as we would love to, that's what we'd like to do. But everyone looks for a certain amount of experience, a certain amount of births that you need to have under your belt. So me as like a newbie into this world, I'm doing the privates, and I obviously sold because I think my practicals at Hillbrow became home to me. I try and still do my hours and giving back there. So I do a lot of private clients, and then when I do have my time, I do volunteer at the Hillbrow maternity unit as often as I can. It still teaches me a lot to this day. But yeah, it's very hard to get into a birth center if you don't have that, checklist. So I'm working towards it yet. But for now, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Take each day, one day at a time.
Yeah, but that's amazing, because you're also still getting the exposure to the births.
Yeah.
And learning to support the moms one-on-one in the private practice while you're still actually working on the births, which is great. And there's only so many centers in Johannesburg. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When you actually research where the birth options are that are hospitals versus centers, there's very few centers, and they have like only a handful of doulas per center. It's
100%.
And then we got things like Genesis closing down, which is just sad for everyone. But that's amazing. So in terms of supporting a mom, everyone thinks, and I know this, I speak to moms and they think a doula is just this person in in the room with you that kind of does stuff, and then they get confused. Not a medical person. What are they doing there? Are they there to replace my partner? Like what do they do? So for you, what do you do? What do you describe your scope of work to your clients?
Okay, well, for me, and I think it's for all doulas, I mean, our scope of practice is basically the same. At the end of the day, I'm not a medical practitioner. We do not deliver the baby, right? We do not do anything like checking blood pressure, doing internal examinations. We do not do that. That is for the doctors, the midwives, the nurses. So what a doula does is a doula comes in being, obviously, in the perfect world setting, we would have met you a long time before you've given birth. So maybe 30 weeks, 32 weeks, even earlier. Some mommies like to, get their doulas lined up before that. We would have met and you would have had a choice to choose a doula. So it's not like, okay, we meet and now you are liable to choose me. Part of my package, because I also like to be comfortable with my mummies, is that I have a free meet and greet. So that it's not like, oh, now you've already paid for this meet and greet. It's like, you're obliged to choose me now, So if there's a connection, if there's a click, if there's something, then it's easier to be comfortable to work with each other, because then we've already got something, whether it's like we like tea, that's something in common that makes you feel comfortable, as opposed to like feeling like, oh, I'm a stranger. So then to really, kind of like off the checklist, okay, I have a choice. I don't just have this doula and she's my doula even if I don't like her. So there's that choice really. Doulas are there basically to support you and your partner. So I'm not coming in there as like, okay, I'm seeing to mommy now, all hands off, the doula's in the house. No, I work as a team. So whether it's with the granny, whether it's with the sister, whether it's with whoever the partner is, we work as a team. So I come in there and I offer information. I offer knowledge on processes, procedures, anything you want to know about, like how did the cesarean section go? What do they do? A natural birth. And I can give you more information on that. And if I don't have the information, I can get you the information because the information's all research-based. It's not something that's on the top of my head, it's researched. I help and support families with advocating for your rights. So know what can happen in a hospital, what questions could be asked, and that you have the right to answer in this way. And that way you have the right to say yes and you have the right to say no. I work with the dads. So some dads are very hands-on and that's amazing. And some dads don't know how to be. And I do separate sessions with them where I coach them, and I teach them how to do and say things that will make the mommy in that moment feel like she is like doing the most amazing job. And she is, but sometimes the partners don't really know how to say that because they themselves are like stuck like, oh my goodness, what is going on? It's a big event, and you do get, what's the word that I'm looking for? You do get like camper you stand there and you don't know what to say. And as a mommy in labor, you want that support. So that annoys you. So as a doula, you try and avoid that and give the partner the brownie points as well. I help you with labor support, help you with labor positions that you can do prior to getting into birth. Practice it with your partner. So that's also encouraging partner interaction. It's not just me. Everything that a doula does, we definitely try and include the person that's in the room as well. We're very mindful of our surroundings as well. And we are very mindful of what our role is, as well as what the partner's role is, as what the client or the mom's role is as well. And with the partner and the doula, you've got a common priority, and that's the money. So it's very easy to work together because you both just want her to have that best outcome, So, yeah, doulas do not take over. We really like we the butter between the jam, we just smooth everything out.
I always like to say that you're there, that you've seen a birth how many times? So many births. And most of the time the partner has not. So you're there just to be like, this is normal. You're doing a good job. Try this, because the partner, the mom, often first time moms or whatever, they go into birth, they have no cooking clue what's going on. They
100%.
suddenly, if it's the partner, they're seeing their loved one in pain or in the, and they don't like, something must be wrong. And meanwhile, it's just like, yay, she's getting to active labor, or yay, she's in transition or whatever. And you just need to be like,
Yeah.
and help the partner. Yeah.
It's a lot of encouragement, and it's a lot of support. And we teach the partner to do that as well. So it's just when it works together and it comes together, it's so beautiful. Like for us, or well, let me talk for myself. For me, it's not a job. It's just not another birth. Every single birth teaches me something different. Every single birth is like the most beautiful thing that I've attended. So I always leave there and I smile and I'm happy, especially when things do go as planned, when the mother gets the birth she wants. And I sit there smiling all day and I have to tell myself, hey, stop smiling. Like, you didn't give birth, but it's like, it's a win. It makes my heart happy. Yeah. So
That's amazing. So you're really invested in helping keep the experience positive. Pick my mic up.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
So you're really invested in keeping things positive.
Yeah.
Which is great. And like you said, that's if a mom has everything go according to plan. Often things don't go according to plan. And it doesn't always have to be as huge as suddenly there's a C-section, which is often the story for a lot of moms. But it can also be that she can't birth in the position she wanted, or, the labor takes longer than she expected, or something like that. How do you deal with things when things don't really go according to the expectations?
Okay, well, I'm super chilled. So I'm your doula. Like, I'm chill. Like, I will tell you, okay, this is realistic, but this is not so realistic, but we can try and meet in the middle and get this, instead of that. But having me as a doula, we speak through a lot of scenarios. So I try and mentally prepare you for everything, from the smaller things that could go wrong to the major things, which is like a cesarean section, whatever. And we talk about those things so that when the mom is like, okay, this is not happening, she's not going to have a meltdown. And if she does, it's fine. We have plan B, we have plan C, we have plan D, and it's all your plan. So we just switch it up, and see how it goes. Normally, moms that are in labor really have this birth plan that they hold so dear to. But when it's in the moment, you don't even care. You don't even realize that there's the lemongrass smell that you wanted, Yes, it's a feeling of safety, and it's a feeling of having that control. What you wanted is what is there. And that is, I think, what helps enable a good environment for labor to progress. But half the time, you just go with the flow. Even as a doula, you learn, you study this, but nothing goes as a textbook explains it. So, and you learn that while you're doing your practicals, So you should be equipped to be able to think on your feet and manage things as they come, because there's no such a thing as a perfect birth. So you make a birth perfect.
But that's so you help the parents or the mom mentally prepare before they start. So you say ideal situation, let's discuss. Now let's discuss if we go down that path or this path, and you kind of just help them. Because again, I also had a unplanned C-section. I don't call it an emergency; it was unplanned. After a couple of hours of labor and all that stuff, and I also had not prepared sufficiently for it. And I think it's so important to make sure that you don't focus and you say this is going to go wrong. But what if here's my toolkit for if it does happen. So that's something that you help your clients do.
Yes, and I think that does stem from, my scare with the C-section and not having planned for me. So it did cause trauma, for a long time until I understood and had to like accept it for myself. But I try, and I know there's traumas in everything, but the more that I can prepare my mamas and their partners, the better job I'm doing, that's what I feel. They are prepared, It's not like, oh my God, things can get this horrible. I'm not scaring you. We're talking about it like how we're having a conversation now. And if this does happen, like, what would you want to do in this situation? What would you want me to do in this situation? You don't have to answer. You and your partner sit tonight and you guys have this discussion. We can come back to it tomorrow or next week or whatever. But let's just have this discussed, because if it does happen, the hardest thing I think is to pull a mommy out of that like postpartum depression. That is the hardest thing to do. So if you can avoid it prior with like your whole birth team, and that's from your gynae to your midwife to your doula, and we're all doing the same thing, I think that has like a very positive effect on the mother after. She's more confident, like whatever happened, she knows that she had a choice in the things. And I think for me, that's what is important, is that they have a choice. They chose to do it. It wasn't something that was forced. Yes, sometimes emergencies happen, but again, you have the knowledge, you know what's going to possibly happen or what could possibly happen. So when it does happen, it doesn't hit your system and you're sitting there in shock or crying, because I was crying. My C-section happened and I was bawling because I was so scared.
No, but it is, if you're not prepared for it, it is something that it's traumatic, and it's something you have to deal with afterwards. And that people are like, oh, it's fine, healthy baby, healthy mom, but it's kind of like inside your head, it's not the same thing. 100%. But that's something in your toolkit that you can provide with your moms, is actually that experience of being in an emergency C-section, going through that, knowing how to help moms, and then also knowing that afterwards you've done the VBAC. Mm-hmm. And that so you've kind of experienced the natural birth, but also the fighting that you have to do to get that. Because you do have to. You do fight a little bit, yeah. So that's incredible. Can you tell me what else is in your toolkit? Because this is coming from your personality. Do you have special things you've studied or things that you bring to a birth?
Well, I am, like I said, I've always been passionate about pregnancies as breastfeeding. So I'm currently studying with Nanish now to be a breastfeeding peer counselor. You do learn a lot when you study with your doula, of course, but it's not, it's just basic breastfeeding stuff. So with Ashleigh, it's definitely more intense. So I'm hoping to add that to, what I'm currently doing after. Because I think it goes hand in hand. And especially a mommy that wants to breastfeeding, is passionate about breastfeeding and is having issues. It's something that I want to be able to like confidently help her with, or confidently be able to refer her issues with. But yeah, so breastfeeding definitely something to add on. What was the other part that you asked?
If you take anything specific into labor with you or your toolkit.
When I go with the flow, my doula bag has everything. So it's got all the tips and all the tricks. I walk around with like a humidifier and a whole load of essential oils. I've got like a comb in my bag. I've got a fan in my bag. I've got a manual hand fan because some mummies don't like the electric one, So there's tips and tricks for everything that I can help with. Certain things I can't, but again, then I can in it's what I do. My actions, my words, what I say to a mommy. And again, it's not something that's practiced either. It comes with the time and with the type of money that you work. You get mummies that love touch and hug, and that's their form of comfort, and that's what you do. And you bring in the partner and you let the partner do those things too, because we want to build up oxytocin. That's what we want to do. But when it comes to mummies that don't really like touch or are not very talkative, you try and use your tool to comfort them. So I have a lot of things. The bird ball is also amazing. We don't always have to be hugging and touching. But I also can be a clown and try and make the mummies laugh, say silly things and get us laughing, um, which I rely on a lot too. So yeah, a lot of things. I am very nurturing by nature. So naturally, like I just want to make sure that you're okay. Like I want to hug you. I want to hold you. I want to tell you things, to make you feel better. Um, that is how I am as a mommy. It's how I am as a sister. It's how I am as a person. But I also try and engage, because not everyone is like I am. So I also need to learn to respect the other person and what they want. So it's a lot. But when you're in it, it's just not something that happens naturally.
But that's amazing. So you mean your physical tools are things to keep the mom comfortable and regardless.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think the moms also sometimes think they have to pack everything themselves. But a doula can bring stuff from experience. They can like an electric fan or a manual fan, like what works best.
Yes.
That's
What does the mom
I
need?
love that.
And that's the most important. What does the mom need?
What does the mom need? That's a really it's a really good toolkit. And the breastfeeding thing is amazing as well, because that key period after birth, where that first latch happens and that confidence is built. I've spoken to a lot of people, and that's where their confidence initially took that knock. Someone said the baby's not feeding, we need to give it formula. Your latch is not doing something, and it's in that very vulnerable first few hours. So to have your doula have that in their toolkit is incredible, because you can just help the mom have the best start to a journey if she wants to go on that journey.
Now, 100%. And again, like you said, what's important is if she wants to go on that journey, we're not there to force. It's not like, no, you will breastfeed. You have a doula, so obviously, like, you're going to breastfeed. No, whatever the mommy wants, we support you with your choices. We are there to give evidence-based information, but at the end of the day, you're allowed to make your informed decision. There's nothing that is forced. Here is information, and here is information. You read through the information and you decide what is best for you, your partner, and your baby, and for your family. Families work different every week. But yeah, especially with the doula, we do stay for the golden hour, which is the first 1 to 2 hours after birth. So I am equipped right now to stay with you, help latch, make sure that baby is latching correctly, make sure that baby is drinking correctly, and making sure that you have that good relationship with breastfeeding, if that is what you want. And of course, like, we try and help with skin to skin, because that aids in helping for baby to latch in for milk production. So yeah, we can do that right now. But like I say, it's that after, okay, so you're at the hospital, you have your baby, your doula's there, baby latches, baby's drinking amazingly, and then you go home, and then baby stops. What happens then? And like you say, it just takes one person, because everyone, has so much advice about breastfeeding, but not all that advice is correct. So with the mommy that's so vulnerable, you take it from like really having this low confidence and you just drop it even lower. And with someone like that, they can just stop altogether. You just say one wrong thing and they're done. And it's the saddest thing to see. So yeah, hoping to pass, finish the scores and like be able to just like, so I'm with you with your labor. I can help you with the breastfeeding at the hospital. But once you go home, like, there needs to be that support there too, because we tend to forget about the mummies once they get home. And that's the hardest part.
That is those first few weeks when you're adjusting to this new baby. And it's so nice to have someone, and I always say this, that's not a family member. Because sometimes there's just that little bit extra well-meaning aunt or sister that had a bad experience that kind of projects it onto you, or can say the wrong thing. And moms are so vulnerable. Birth and pregnancy, that I said, blows them open. expands every cell and creates all these cracks so that they can become a mom. And any negative comment gets in there and like seeds. So it's so nice to have someone to contact that has got the wealth of information and the positivity just to encourage the moms on, because mostly that's what they need. They need someone to be like, you're doing this, you got this.
Yeah, that's true.
That's and one of the biggest things about this series that I'm doing, or that is that I'm talking to local people. And I think I mentioned this when we spoke about the series.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the information on the internet, on Dr. Google, is American-based, Australian-based, UK-based. And it's all wonderful information, but it's not necessarily applicable to us here in South Africa. And to have someone like you, I mean, I'm sure you have a list of referral people. You've got the doctors that you know work, and the midwives and the gynaes and the hospitals, pediatricians, I mean, all local people to refer to. Yeah. And it's just, that's another super positive thing to have, is to find a community. Yeah.
100%.
Where you are.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and I mean, in the work that we do, we get to meet the doctors, you know, sometimes we get to meet the peds, but we also hear from our mommy clients afterwards, and yeah, who was amazing and who, like, you know, gave them that like encouragement and whatever. And as a doula, you'll be like, okay, that doctor sounds amazing. Like, you know, I'm going to put him in my list of like who to refer to because I like him, you know, and then we're obviously going to get the ones with the moms not generally like so into that doctor, and you're like, okay, you know, we give him another chance or her another chance and see how it goes. But, you know, again, I think there's every doctor for every personality. You know, a doctor that I might find amazing, my sister will go to and she will hate. You know, so there is a doctor for everybody. It just depends on what it is that you're looking for. But yeah, doulas are there to help refer you. And if we don't know, we're always happy to find out, because when you're with wombs, when you're doula and you're with wombs or mama bamba, you are there forever, you know, so you have this big group of like doulas from like 30 years into the new doulas now. So it's a wealth of information just on that one group, you know, so we're always happy to get you more information or get you the referrals that you require.
It's really a link into a community that most parents have no reason to be in until they're there.
Yeah,
that's really cool, because you can join a mother from her pregnancy, help them prepare, help them do all that stuff, carry them through the birth, and then you become this source, this wealth of information for whenever they need something baby related throughout that whole thing. I found a reflexologist, my gynae, my midwife, yoga, physio, all of that through doulas, through the community. And you don't know these people exist until you step inside, and then you realize there are so many amazing providers. And like you said, one for everyone.
One for everybody. You know, one may want to use a chiropractor, one may want to use a reflexologist. Again, it's what you want to do. It's no one's forcing, but here is the information. You know, use it as you want.
And I think it starts with the birth team, like you said, that unique person. So interviewing the doula, coming and watching these interviews, meeting with someone. Every doula I've spoken to says we have a meet and greet to see if we vibe.
Yep.
Because you have to be able to connect with the person. And you're building that beautiful birth team, which is the foundation of your entire motherhood journey.
100%.
And it can start with feeling like your choices are being taken away, feeling uninformed, and all of these other horror stories that you hear. Don't listen to them when you're pregnant, though. Or it can be this amazing journey where people hold you and guide you through and give you the best possible start with your baby and with your motherhood journey.
No, that's the truth. It's like, you know, just having this functional family, you know, like everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what they need to do. Everyone sticks to the plan, you know, and hope that it goes well. But we've all got our plan B and we've all got our plan C. So whatever happens, there's no chaos in front of the mommy because we know we each hold each other accountable. We each have our own responsibilities. We know what the script is and we go with it. And that's just how that's how it should be in a perfect world. And in that way, each person to their own. Yes, we may not all have the same opinions or agree on everything, but there is that respect, and again, main priority being the mommy and working together for her.
And you work with the medical community. That's
what yes, we do.
I mean, you don't come in the room and fight the doctors, and you work with them and help the moms, and help the moms communicate or understand what's going on.
100%. At the end of the day, we're not there to talk down onto the doctors. Doctors know what they're doing, Like I said in the previous question, we help mummies and daddies be able to advocate for themselves. So we give them that wealth of knowledge. So if anything doesn't feel right to them, they will be able to voice their opinion. A doula is not going to be in the room and say, oh, no, don't you cut that cord, doctor. That's not our job. We are we respect doctors, we respect the nurses, we respect the midwives. We want to just be able to be in that space, to be able to work with our mummy, and make her feel safe and comfortable and be able to give her the time and the care that she needs, whilst working with these doctors. So it's for the mom or the partner to step in when things don't seem okay and for them to say, no, we do not want that. No, thank you.
And I think that's a very important distinction to make, that you're not there to make medical decisions. You're not there to advocate. You're there to support and hold them while they go through this.
100%.
I love these conversations. They're so amazing. It's just something so special about what all birth workers do, I think. It's a very vulnerable time for families, and I think it's something so special that everyone's a part of. You've had 3 births. So can you tell me, and you've experienced so many births from the outside perspective as well, can you tell me what your ideal birth is?
My ideal birth. Okay, I don't actually, I don't have this ideal birth in my mind. For me, an ideal birth is when the partner feels safe in an environment. So be it the bathroom, be it in the middle of the woods, be it in a hospital or in a birth center. So long that there is a feeling of like safety. That for me is the most perfect setting because the mummy feels safe and protected and she will be able to do amazing things. She will allow her body to process and to do the things that it needs to do. And when you watch it, it becomes, it's beautiful. Like I can't explain it even in words. It's like watching like the most amazing movie on birth, But when you bring in like unnecessary things, when the mommy does start feeling like uncomfortable, or for example, a mother doesn't like hospitals, when you're forced to birth in a hospital, and most of the time it is in a hospital, you kind of see like them shutting off and shutting everything out because there's fear more than excitement, and that's why I say there's no perfect setting. I could want to give birth at the birth center. Yes, you do your tours and everything, but on that day, everything is so different. You go in there and you probably could hate it, but you chose that. But for that time, that day, how you feeling, it's just not exactly what you wanted. So there's not such a thing as perfect. You make it perfect.
So it's more of a feeling than it is things and lights and smells and all that stuff, which are all great. But I think I agree with you. It is more of a feeling because things don't go according to plan. And as long as you're constantly feeling like you've had a choice and you've been safe, you shouldn't leave it with any sort of trauma or any sort of regret. And that's the most important thing, is that you come out
I can tell
healthy,
you,
happy.
healthy be happy mom, partner, and baby. That's the goal. You know, if I can tell you, I mean, so many births that I've had, like I said, getting my humidifier with my essential oil. There's so many mummies that didn't even want it because they hated a lot of smells in their pregnancy. So, like, you can't even create the aromatherapy vibes there because they don't want smell. You know, they fine with how everything's smelling now. It's okay. You know, then you get mummies that say, okay, they want like dim lighting and all of those things. But when they're in the hospital, you don't really have a lot of options in some places to make that happen. But they don't actually care. You know, it's the last thing on their mind. You know, so feeling safe in the environment that they are in, whether they've chose it or not, but the feeling when you feel safe and you can continue to feel safe, everything that happens after that, like it can't affect you much, you know, your body has all these good feelings, the oxytocin is there, your people are there. That is, I think it's once the people get removed, that's when like the fear and the anxiety and all those things start happening, because now it's that feeling of like, oh, now you will know. You know, so it's very important, especially to have the partner there, especially to have the doula there, whoever's going to be laboring with the mommy. It's to make sure that she's not alone. That feeling of her being safe and being able to control whatever environment she's in, I think that is the most important, because the candle won't even get lit most of the time. The fairy lights, sometimes there's no time to even put it up, you know? So yes, we create this expectation. We put all of that into the birth plan. But the main thing is like, how do you want to feel? You know? And how can I make you feel that way? You know, that's the most important that I try and hold and remember from every birth that I go to. Is what did the mommy want and what was important to her? I need to stick to that and make sure that even though things change, I can be able to try and do that for her and try and get her partner also to do that and remind him to keep doing that for her. Yeah.
No, but that's amazing. I mean, when we talk about setting up and birth prep, there's always these lists online that say, okay, you can make your dim the lights, get a color, do all these things. When I was planning mine, I was like, okay, I spent a lot of time making a playlist. A lot of time. Can I tell you, I did not hear that music once.
There we go.
It was playing the entire time. I remember one time I looked up from the tub and I went, what song is this? I didn't put this on my playlist. That was the first time I'd heard a single song. The first time I noticed there was music on, and it was some hip hop song that I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's the only time I ever seen it. And so it is, but the team member, I remember them holding my hands. I remember them putting pressure on my back. I remember them talking to my face and saying things and encouraging me. So the team is so important, and having that same values. So finding the right team to hold you in space, like you said, that's the ideal setting.
That's the ideal setting.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. I'm just going to check my questions now because you've just blown me away. I think we've covered a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
Let me just think also.
Yeah.
Let me see your question there. Is there anything I wanted to? I think the question on like medicated births and epidural is a good one too, because a lot of mummies, ask those questions.
So yeah, what is your view then on medicated or births, epidurals? I think we spoke about pectidine with Alyssa. What and all of those things.
Okay, so again, as a doula, we there to guide you, right? So I'm not opposed to a mommy wanting a medicated birth. It's not like if we approach each other and you're happy with me and then we start discussing the birth plan and you say, oh no, you want a medicated birth, whether that be an epidural, just a medication, I'm going to be like, oh no, 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 no. I'm so sorry. I cannot work with you. Goodbye. No, that's not how it is. I'm not opposed to it. As a doula, my main job is to give you evidence-based information. So I will give you that information. I will give you all the resources that you need. You go home, you sit with your partner, and you go through it. If something doesn't sit well with you and you choose to change your mind, and not do it, that's great. I'm on board. If it's something that you've read, you willingly make the decision, and it's an informed decision, 100%, let's go. Either way, I will find a way to support you that you need. Yes, there are things that, in the hospital that are given that can cause lots of side effects. There's side effects with every medication, and a lot of mommies don't know that, but I feel like once you give them the tools, and the knowledge and the resources, and they can read it for themselves, a lot of the times you actually do change your mind because you do not understand what that specific medication does. But again, not opposed, happy to help how I can help, and I'm happy to be support for you, whichever way you want to do birth. Whether you do birth natural, whether you do birth with medication, whether you have birth with an epidural, whether it's a vaginal birth, whether it's a tummy birth, at the end of the day, most important goal is a safe mommy and a safe baby. How baby is born, that's a topic for another day. It's not like, oh, so sorry you didn't get like a natural birth, like that's a failure. There's no such a thing. Long as baby enters this world and you have your baby and mommy is there and mommy is healthy, that is all that matters.
Yeah, I think it's important that the point that you picked up, that a lot of moms don't know about the risks of medication. Yeah. They go in, they're like, cool, I want this, I want that, it's comfort and everything. If it's their choice, 100% go for it. It's the same thing breastfeeding. It's the same thing where you are, how you do it. It's all about choice, but to have that informed choice, to be able to know and then accept the risks, accept the possible side effects of what it is. Because I've also spoken to moms who afterwards have dealt with lingering side effects of an epidural or a spinal that they didn't know was possible. They didn't know was part of the deal sometimes. Yeah. So you're not going to try and convince them not to. You're just going to say, great, these are the pros, these are the cons. Let's make a choice. Will you make a choice?
At the end of the day, I know we're all different. There's a lot of doulas that are very passionate about, going natural. Like, this medication is really bad for you. And I'm not paid to persuade you to do yes or no, because at the end of the day, this is your birth. This is your story. You need to be able to own everything that's happened in the perfect world. And if that means that you chose to take Breastfeeding and you knew there was a risk of jaundice, or you knew there was a risk of having latching problems or breastfeeding problems later on, and that happened, you own that. You knew it, you are fine with it, and you're going to deal with it. And that is also, again, putting that ownership on the mommy or on the parent to say that you got this. This is your baby. The decisions you make and the decisions that you're going to make for your whole life, that's going to affect your baby some way or the other. So you're also building strong mothers and strong partners where they are capable of making that decision by themselves. For everything, they're going to not be phoning you. Hey, doula, what must I do? Like, is that okay? Is that not okay? You need to build that self-confidence in them as well, And the only way to do that is by saying, here's the information. You look at it, you read it, and you decide, because you know best, for you and for your baby. Because that's not my baby. As much as I love all the babies that are born, that I see, that I just want to hold, not my child. And as a mother myself, you want to be able to make the decisions for your own child. And if you make a mistake, you're able to own it and say, that was on me, we'll do better next time. And that is what motherhood is. That is what parenting is. you make the mistakes and you learn from it. So next time when it happens, you know better. And that's the only way that you learn, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a journey, and it's a journey of self-reliance. And I think you got to learn that you and your partner are the team that kind of does everything, and you got to make the decisions. You got to take responsibility for it. You got to feed the kids. You got to all of that stuff. And I think it does. It starts with when they're in the tummy, and they suddenly have to make all these medical decisions in a realm that they've never been a part of. So it's a good practice, and that's lovely. Yeah. So how do you provide the information? Do you give it to them in like a written form, or do you explain it to them? Or do you send them links? Like how do you?
Whatever it is. So I mostly do video calls, or I'll do like a home visit. And then we discuss everything. So we'll speak through everything that they want to know, and we'll have a proper discussion. I'm happy to WhatsApp links of resources that are videos or things that they can read to, like, get more information on the topic that we're discussing. But I like to do a lot of things either face-to-face or over video. I'm not a phone person. Like, I would rather like to see your face, make sure, because I can say a lot of things on the phone, but is the mother or the partner or both of them actually understanding what I'm saying? When you face to face, you can see if that person is taking in that information. The facial expressions, are they confused? Like, what the hell am I talking about? Okay, maybe I must like tone me down, like, to maybe simpler terms. But either way, face to face, resources with links or videos, whatever's easier for them to understand.
That's good as well, though, because then you're building up that connection, that face-to-face connection. So when you're in the labor room, they know you, they know your facial expressions, they know the way you speak, and it's already calming just to have that familiarity in the room. Yeah. And lovely chatting to you. Really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this talk. Is there anything else that you want to cover?
No, I'm very comfortable. I'm happy with the discussions. It was really interesting, yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love the way that they each take their different turns and twists.
Yeah, it's like, you have a thing that you're going to say, but it happens when you're just like in your element, and like, it's like, no, but through that strip, like I'm going to start again. So it was very nice. Thank you, Ashleigh.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for making the time to come on.
My
I cannot
pleasure.
wait to get this in front of all the moms so that they can see the options that they have available. That's it. I just want them to see.
And it's a lot of options, and they're not alone, Things have changed a lot. Last 5 to 10 years, and there's a lot of options. For mummies with partners and mummies without partners. And either way, there is this world of where there's a wealth of information. So don't ever feel alone and discouraged. There's always someone that can help you. And I mean, even if you don't want to doula, just join like a mum group or like a parent group. Something where there'll be a community for you to go into and speak to about your issues, where people can help you and give you referrals, because not everybody does want to do that, and that's okay, but the main thing for me is to have that community so that there's no mummy that ever feel alone or unsupported.
I love that. That's such a beautiful place to end. It's just about support. It's about community and about seeing that you're not normal. I mean, not unnormal, not weird, not an outlier. All of us are going through it. None of us know what we're doing.
100%.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. That is it, Give yourself grace. It's okay.
So beautiful. I'm going to end that there. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Ashleigh.